tonight's learning, Le'il Nishmas, Rabbi Yossi Reichik, whose third yahrzeit is tonight, and Rabbi Yossi Yitzchak ben Menachem Shmuel David HaLevi. And on behalf of everyone, we would like to thank Rabbi Tauber for the beautiful year, and to wish him a Kisiv Aksim and looking forward in Ritz Hashem to upgrade the learning on a higher and a better level next year. In the Shalayim and HaKodesh, Amen. Amen.
Okay, we got so far up to page Kuf Tzadik Beis, As Yid Gimel. Yid Gimel. Yud Gimel. Okay, the Rabbi says, again, we're talking about the Ribis, Rabbi Say. And so, the Rabbi says like the Filalahanis, Mahaloi, V'Medaitoi. I'm going to go back just to the Yid Gimel, we stopped in the middle. So, to have a nur from the Loive, from V'Medaitoi, Koma, Shibi Inish, Usal Loive Lasis, Usal Mabel Kabel Memeni. First, the Rav says a very important halacha. Not everyone agrees to this. The Rav holds that it's a two-way street. That even Issa the Rabbanon, you're not allowed to give, and the person is not allowed to receive. So it's not only the receiver's problems, the giver's problems too. It's both have the problem. Don't think it's only the Malva, or don't think it's only the Leiva, because in Shiurim there's a whole talk about it and the whole question.
Decides he's not going to pay the Ribis. Is that okay?
Well, he's not allowed to pay the Ribis. He's not allowed to pay the Ribis.
I understand. So I'm saying for the labor, if he goes in and saying, and this guy wants, I need $1,000 to make my rent. So I'm going to go to this guy, and he says, okay, but I want 10% of my money. And he said, so the guy that's lending is charging the Ribis.
Yeah, but
he says, yeah, I'm going to pay the Ribis, no problem. Meanwhile, he knows he ain't paying it because he came to the Shiurim and he's like, I'm not allowed to, sorry. Here's your 1,000, that's all you get back.
Yeah, but there's a law, that means you're not allowed to start alone with Ribis. It's a very good question. I don't think the Rav talks about it. But in the sugya of Ezer Neshech, there's a law that you're not allowed to start alone with Ribis. Then there's a law of paying Ribis. Two separate laws. So the guy, even though you have no intentions, and you're now, but
you just need your money.
Yeah. So, but the Malva had intentions, so you're because he really gave you a loan at Ribis. So there's a problem. It's really a problem.
So even if you do something retroactively, you're already over the first loan. In other words, when you
Yes.
Right. Say, if he lent the money with
You heard what I just said, but he
never
just
got
added.
paid
I want to say one line. No, just said he added. Remember last week we spoke that you could be misakin. How could you misakin? Just say the money was not for the Ribis, the money was for the Keren. But if you made the loan at Ribis, you were over the Avlis Simon Kaneshach. That's true. That's what the Elchonon is saying. But so it doesn't work that trick. But here the Rabbi was talking about the Rabbanon. There's a big machlekes if the Rabbanon it's only the Malva or the Loiva too. He says both. Okay. He says when kiba man is shim toy v'sanu shusalam v'daitoi abi shib'inin shib'din putim al shalom. But there's certain toy v'sanua. Toy v'sanua. I don't know how to translate toy v'sanua again.
Is it a kickback?
Yeah, but not always is it a kickback. There's
benefit.
Any benefit, anything. Even though you can make him pay for it, it's like a referrals. I sent you a customer, or anything like that. Which is sometimes you collect money, sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's however we can. You're the Malva. So if I know this, it's very interesting. The Malva knows this referral comes from the Loiva. He says, "I'm sorry, I cannot do business with you, unless he has a mind. I'll pay him for the fee. There's a referral fee, so I will pay him for the fee. Not going to take it for free." Now this is important. In many businesses, everything works with referrals, and sometimes you pay. That's what the Rabbi is saying. In Kime, Apishi beinish when in Lohoi mal va'achsha shevi shalom esralem, well, he got to pay for his work. In Bolotzi de Shemayim, Lohoi tzi ave krigos mdachas Yudah. See, he adds another thing. Even if you already accepted it, see, if I know, I asked the guy who referred you to me, Pliny Almoini. Oh, I gave him a loan. I'll pay him. Let's say the Rav is saying even more. Let's say you shas mas, he took it, and then you realize, I shouldn't have taken it for free. So if you want to be yoytze din shemayim, you have to yoytze din shemayim. Already said before, it means you're obligated to do it. It's lutzes yidei shemayim is an obligation. Many people don't know this, and we spoke about Nechosh Mishpat, that you're obligated. Yeah. I had a cute shala the other day. Two people, a young couple, got, people from Toronto here, maybe change the names over here. Anyway, someone picked himself up, a young lady, and moved to Toronto. Young lady with a baby. She asks her friend's husband, do me a favor, I'm giving you the key. When my husband's at work, go in and take the jewelry and send me a bunch of legal papers. She had no intentions to come back. He did it. So the guy came last year, so they got divorced, and he never got the jewelry. She had, I think we spoke about it once, that you can't make, when a person leaves, a lady leaves with not a valid reason, she doesn't take the jewelry. Even though he's not so nice to me, and every divorce there's a lot of excuses. Every person gets divorced has a million excuses. But it's rare, that there's a real case for a divorce. So the jury doesn't take. So he never didn't want to be moichel him. He said, you understand, the guy says, I'm not moichel you. I'm not going to take you to the Torah for $3,000. Didn't have much. You newlyweds didn't have so much jewelry. Not even he doesn't even think it's $3,000. But I'm going to go to the Torah. So he came to me last year. I tried to make shalom. So now they agreed that I should call Mechoin Le'aruah. Expert Nechashmim. Guy said, yes, he has a right, Din Shemayim, to say that I'm not moichel you unless you give me the jewelry, because she would have, she's called a Meredah, she picked this up and ran away. He would have kept the jewelry, but she went to court. She, she quickly filed in Toronto. I don't know the laws exactly, and she was bound by that, and whatever the case was. The bottom line is that I said, if you have to.
Did she get the jewelry through a court order anyhow?
No. Well, jewelry belongs to, if she get a court, it doesn't make a difference. She's a ganef. This guy took it before, before there was, he taught me, he took the jewelry out of the house without permission. So, he was not allowed to do that. So, Dina Shemayim, he has to pay. She's not going to pay. They would have gone to the Torah, she would have to give the jewelry. Not so, because there's always hope to make shalom. And he claims that I know 100% there was going to be a divorce. I had cases where I made shalom, which therapist told me when it's at wachsen, the Yiddish expression, when hair is going to grow here, there's going to be shalom there. And there was shalom. So, shalom is tricky, the way I say. Shalom bayis is a very tricky thing.
It seems to me that if anyhow, she's doing it in a secular court, they could anyhow divide up the assets somewhere along the line.
There's no assets, the newlyweds. Where's the assets? Almost they barely had anything. Yeah, the court has no. There's no. The din Torah is it belongs to the husband. He bought it for her.
How do you value it?
He doesn't know approximately. I have to figure it out. Yeah, no, he valued today. There was a small diamond, not too expensive, and he bought a necklace. He bought a this. He says he himself was made. He's not sure it's worth $3,000. Doesn't need the money. He tells me. I asked him. I tried to make shalom. He says, it's principle, Shem Shemayim. Like the guy. It's hurtful. The guy was mishtachara. Who asked you to? You want me to forgive you? Go ask a rabbi. That was the time. Go ask a rabbi. Tell me what to do. Okay, there's in Chosh Mishpat. Very often there's such a concept as Dina Shemayim. Can't force him, but he has to pay. Very, very often, in many cases in Chosh Mishpat, that way many people don't know. That means You know, I don't have to be, it's not true, it's not so simple. I cannot make you pay, but there is many, we talked about a gruma, you know, like, someone asked me, quickly another shala, someone asked me, I'm sure it happens here too, not in our neighborhood, but someone asked me the other week that they went away for Shabbos, and they said that when the shiksa come, they went away for a week and when the shiksa comes to clean, which is one big mistake, you don't let a shiksa in the house when there's no one home. So, well, we spoke about this, but anyways, he asked the neighbor to, you know, to give her the key and undo the alarm. So, you know, but no, Sunday, whatever, she gave him the key, forgot to undo the alarm, and she opened the alarm, went on, and the police came, whatever. I think that he told me it's 185 thing for false alarm, something like that, 180, whatever. They're fine. There's a rich guy, but he just one tells me, I just want to know an halacha. And then I asked him to do me a favor, and I told him, Baruch habit chektana. They both know this. He also knows he has an alarm. If the alarm goes on and the police comes, it's a fine, $180 fine, whatever it is. And he forgot. Who has to pay for it? It's not even a shoyman. There was no shoyman. He watched the key. He's not a shliach. He just watched the key and I had to do a favor. And there was shiksa knocks on the door. I'll give her the key. He asked me to do a favor, and I didn't do the favor. So undo the alarm. It's a gruma. It's a grumi. It's one of those. And if a guy had no intentions to hurt, he came in. Even in the shemaim, you don't have to pay. He didn't have no, you know, just you know, forgot.
I thought we've learned in the past that if you cause damage, even unintentionally,
Depends what damage.
you still owe it.
No, depends what damage. This is an indirect damage. This is a very indirect. This is very indirect. That means that because the alarm went off and because of that, it's called the indirect damage. You don't have to pay. So it's not called, we spoke about this, Germi, Geruma, this is far removed. So a guy gives you a check and it bounces, that he has to pay. We spoke about it. You know that's what's going to happen. And you should be aware. You know, this, you asked me for a favor and I forgot to do you the favor. That's it. That's all you asked me to do a favor. This happens the time. Please move the car, alternate parking. And you forgot.
In our neighborhood, when we come, the police don't come.
I don't think so.
Well, see, it seems that if I ask somebody to do me a favor, they say yes, they'll do it. So I'm relying on them that they're going to do it. If they would have told me, no, I'm not going to do it, I'll find somebody else to do it.
Can't, it's very nice. You're very nice, but you can't be much some money. So you forgot. I'm just saying, it's not a... That's something. Yeah. Yeah, but that sugi says you have the shemaim. Right, but that is because you did something, you would cause damage, the indirect damage. You have to watch your fire. So it was one of those cases you have in the shemaim. But here we're talking about the guy asked you for a favor. I forgot to do you the favor. Okay. But a Ribis, Dina Shemaim, all I really went off topic is Dina Shemaim means you cannot go to Bez and force the guy to pay, but you are obligated to give back the money. That's what it really means. You know, it's not... Okay. Zug der Rav. You should be very careful in your Ribis, Shalavakashim Tzad Heter. Don't look for a Teirim. Ki Duvar HaMoshech Le'udam. It's something that people, pulls people. V'hem hayoim yiftach like a chiddush shamachad. There you open an expression, a chut shamachad, you know, a thin hole, is v'leyoim b'yoim at yiftach kepischoy shel ulam. Till the end is going to open the size of ulam. I want to tell you something very interesting. First time I learned Ribis, I had such a hard time swallowing the idea of a heteriska. It didn't make sense. Heteriska is a way of making it. But here, you have every chumen in the book, and the Rav said, it's the Lushan HaTor, and the Rambam, Ma'uid Yizer, we give a heteriska. So, I have no answer. The bottom line is, I'll explain later how a heteriska works. It's a legal thing, and it's perfectly okay in halacha. But people always, I have people who tell me, I have wealthy people in my neighborhood who tell me, they don't give a loan on heteriska. They rather give a loan without. But, so I used to be, you think that it's wrong, you don't believe. So the Emerson, if a guy makes fun of it, he's making fun of Toises. Toises is the first one who makes a heteriska. But you see, there's such a concept. A person is allowed to say,
What
I'm...
if they don't loan with that risk?
They give a regular loan. Doesn't want to do it. No, it doesn't. It's paying back. Doesn't. That's why he doesn't give big loans. He gives 10,000. Doesn't give anything more than 10,000. You know, I'm not interested in getting Ribis. I don't need your money. I don't need your from them. You know, you're not going to make me rich with the, you know. And but you know, but I'm saying, so this lotion here is that if you start, you might wind up taking mamash Ribis. So that is a reason why not to take Ribis. Not, see, when a guy, I had a Rav who got up once, made fun of a heteriska, and I gave him over the head. And I told him, Toises is the first one who spoke a heteriska. You know, what I mean, the Rishonim talk about it. Toises is the first one who quotes it. So, I mean, we followed the Bala Toises. But, and it is a legal thing. We'll get to it one day. But I could, a person has a right to be machmer. I don't know if I spoke about it here in the other day. There's a concept when the Chazal, remember I told you the Zukim Mamre, you know, Noisen Tamil of Gam? The guy didn't want to eat it. Rav didn't want to, so on, cooks oil in a goyish pot. So I remember Rav or Shmuel, one of them didn't want to eat it, and he told them, if you're not going to eat it, you're a Zukim Mamre if you look for chumras. You know, you're a Zukim Mamre, because the Chazal said it's okay. So often when the Chazal comes say it's okay, you're not allowed to be machmer. Here, if a guy says, I don't want to heteriska, it's okay, because there is a concept, not because I don't believe in it, I'm afraid I'm going to do this, and who knows what's going to lead to it. Okay? All right.
You can't say that by the oil as well.
No. Why are you afraid it's going to lead? No. No. Chazal Ketchila said you could do that. The Chazal said not to be worried. Never said that you have to be nizer. Chazal will matter, you know, Chazal will matter oila shulchan meluchim if it's not oila shulchan meluchim. If it's nechel chai, Chazal Ketchila said cases that it's okay. That means that the shiksa cooks or your neighbor brings you something that's nechel chai, you're allowed to eat a leketchila. And if it's not oila shulchan meluchim, you're allowed to eat a leketchila.
I guess the problem that I have, just to try to conceptualize where you make the differentiation between someone who's going overboard by being over-machmer on issues that he really shouldn't be, versus the guy that you say, you know, it's good if he's, you know, holds back from whatever it may be. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
why do you see, you know, a business that operates on Shabbos?
Let me explain something. It is good the person may have chumras when the chumras helps us. Very often, chumras backfire and it becomes a disaster. I watched that a lot of times. A lot of times I watched this. You know what I mean? There are times where chumra has a place where it's taka, you should be machmer. There are times where
It's not something that the word is heter is. So the opposite of heter is a chumra. It's not heter noisen tam of gam, it's a din. It's a din of noisen tam of gam. So here you're going against the din. Here you're not. You're not accepting the heter.
Well, that's true also. Okay. You know, I want to say just how the Rabbi Shalom, to me it's amazing. We are not so much tempted with Ribis because with his credit line people have in the banks, maybe now that they're closing down. In the good old days, people used to lend each other money. That was the only way. There was no such a thing. You go to a bank, you have credit, and you know, a line of credit doesn't exist. Baruch Hashem, you start a business, I don't know, you know, depends now, they're cutting, but the idea was that really, you know, and I always tell people when they come and if a guy needs a loan from you, be aware that his business is not good. I'm talking the good times where the banks don't want to give you a loan, he's the one who gives you a loan, he's asking from you a loan, then... Okay, so the Rav Yudala, the Fila Tauber Sanua, She'eni moment, which is not, you cannot demand money, usal henisim money. Kigon, he says a moshel. In a malva ba malucha. Let's say the malva has a cleaning store. The malva is a plumber or electrician or any business he has. He usually takes us to other cleaners, other places to sew whatever he needs. He never used to give. Now, If Nusan, lo yikabel many. That means if the cleaners gave me a loan, I never went to take my clothing to this cleaners, I am not allowed to take my clothing to this cleaners now. Because,
Forever?
well, yes, after the loan was paid and 30 days afterwards. But right now, but right now I'm not allowed to because I'm doing it because he gave me a loan. That's called Ribis of Toivis Hanua. Which is a little, it's a little less, it's not Abik not clear, but it's a Ribis, you're not allowed to do that. Yeah, Danny knows all about that. We have my neighbor was such a person. But if he gives a B'toris set to Iske, it's only going to Shulchan Aruch problem. Only going to Rab, if you give a B'toris set to Iske. So there is a guy who gives loans, and you want a loan, you have to down my shul. But he gives a B'toris set to Iske. So it's different.
Can you do it after 30 days if there is a part of you that really is thinking, this guy was nice to me?
Yeah. It's after 30 days, and it's not, we had before, not noticeable, and it says you shouldn't do it for that reason, but so I looked it up, others hold you allowed to. The Rav says not, and I looked in the other Chronim disagree, he said, okay, listen to this amazing Shulchan Aruch. She'usar Meshuras, oy Melamed, lahal v'suis the balabais, kadesh yiskeri. They would do this. In times of Shulchan Aruch, they would give, a Malamed would, it wasn't the way it is today, which many people don't know this. It used to be that people got together in the city, hired a Malamed, and the rich people had a better Malamed, the poor people had it used to work, unfortunately. There were, besides in Hungary was the places where they started yeshivas, but many places in Poland and Galicia, it was that way. So anyway, the guy says, I want to be a Malamed. So the guy says, look, I have money, I'll give you a loan. The rich people always need some money, cash flow, and hire me as a Malamed. You're not allowed to do that. And if you tell the guy, I'm giving you a loan, I want you to hire me for that, it's Ribis Daraisa. Very interesting halacha. He says, he makes a trick. He says, Shemalvei alvua, chen. Guy tells you, I'm giving you a loan. Just be aware that he says, Lav Davki brings down, the Chronim say, Lav Davki Ribis Gemira. No intentions to hire him. If you didn't hire him before, you can't hire him because he gave you a loan. Okay.
Does it fall on both of them in this case too?
Yeah, both of them have the problem.
Not as you're not hired as something, but it doesn't pay, but falls on both of them too?
Yeah, you shouldn't accept, you shouldn't give. The Rav says the Isses on both. Yes, both have the problem. So listen to this. Here then, im amal vehi uni. Listen to this fascinating thing. The malva is an oni. You hear everybody say, the malva is an oni. Which is true. You know what? I heard this from the groceries in my neighborhood. I asked them, whose checks bounce the most? He says, the rich people. The grocery told me the rich people always bow. They don't know. The simple people either said, I'm going to pay later, but it really bounces. It says, so gave him a loan. Unless they used to do favors to each other. If they never did favors for each other, you can't do favors. You can't send them a client, you can't do favors. That's called, goes into the Ribis. Okay.
We covered that before.
Yeah. He really covered this before, and the reason he's repeating is just showing not only giving gifts, even just referrals of work, which is a big chiddush. Understand? So doing, guys giving, to give them. What did I do? I send them a customer. Big deal.
So is this saying that if the lender's poor, the borrower can't give him stuff?
Yeah. It's a funny small story.
I'm saying that, I mean, I can see a circumstance, maybe this poor guy went and had a few dollars and this other person needed a loan right away, but
Well, in the store, you needed the $2 though, I think.
he can't give him, or he can't send him over food for Rosh Hashanah, so because, you give him a
Yeah, if you made it alone, you can't send the food. Well said.
Is this only applied by lending money?
No, I explained lending, the idea of halva means I give something to someone in which he will consume. Someone just asked me sugar. You have neighbors, can I borrow a 5-pound bag of sugar? That's called a loan because you're consuming the sugar. If I ask for a hammer, electric saw, that's not a loan, but I'm borrowing them. I'm a shoyel. But if I ask him,
As a shuttle, there's no problem in doing extra favors for the guy.
no problem. If someone asked me 2 weeks ago over here, like he borrowed someone's car and he gave him back with a full tank. Perfect, you're good? You borrowed the car, you were shoyel, you wanted to be nice to the guy, and you filled up the tank, even though it was a... What? It became a circle, yeah, but there's no ribis. It's only ribis when it's something that's made to consume. You understand what I'm saying? The sodas, lamosh, anything but it's a fussing in the Torah. Ribis oichel. Ribis oichel means I'm going to eat. God, you give me 5 apples, I'll give you 6 apples. That's what it means.
Well, that's stuff that the guy doesn't know that he's going to do. The Malva lens, he's giving stuff, but he's giving stuff to say, so he doesn't know he's getting from you.
It's the other way around. The loiva, it's the other way. The other way around.
No, Malva's a honey.
The malva is the honey. That was the funniest
The
thing.
light is giving stuff to the Malva, but the Malva
Yeah, that's not permitted.
But he doesn't know. Even if the Malva is giving to like a Temple Shabbos and that Temple Shabbos and that.
Well, you give it to Uncle Shabbos that, you're not giving it to him, you're giving it to the organization. They disperse it, whatever they dispense it.
You know for sure that guy's going to get them.
Yeah, that's okay. I didn't. Okay. In Malay Ba Melucha, now listen to this case. In Malay Ba Melucha, V'oisem Melucha L'malva B'zil Yoisem in a Shal Kaludam, V'sherviach Lo Yezman. You know what? I'll do this for you. Do me a favor. My due payment is Sunday, extended a week. I'll do this work for you cheaper. He says, this is Ribis Shel Torah. So I don't have practical Mishalom, but I can imagine people in business. You understand what he's saying? They say the guy comes to the guy comes to the cleaners, and the cleaners owes him money, and he says, my due date is next week. You know what? Normally I charge $10. I'm going to charge you $5. Do me a favor, make my loan not due this Sunday and a Sunday later. So he's extending the loan, and I'm going to give you cheaper the work. Very simple.
But didn't you say that isn't that a situation where he's buying that wheat? Correct.
Not buying, nothing, but yeah, he's buying. That's what it's Ribis Deraisa.
But he's not paying Ribis on the loan.
Yeah, he is paying. He's buying. He's paying he's charging for ager nater, for waiting to get my loan back. I'm charging you money.
Didn't we say that was okay?
No, that's Ribis. No, everyone agrees to that. What?
He says, if you pay me back early, I'll give you a discount.
That we're going to learn later. That's a whole simon later. That's all. I'll later get to it this soon.
So anytime a
But
person-
again, let me make this. Let me just make it simple. I don't know what business you guys are in. Today we live in a different world. Yeah.
That's what we do in this side of town.
And I'm just saying, a guy has a cleaners, and the cleaners needed money, okay? And because he borrowed from you money to open his business. When you come in, he always charges you half price. That's Ribis. But that's going to be Ribis to the bottom. But he says to you, you know what? I won't charge you anything. But do me a favor for that. I'm not charging you. The due date is the 1st. Can you extend it to the 15th? That's all he's asking you. So it's Ribis Deraisa. Because any time you pay for waiting to get paid, you're paying for the loans due today. Instead of paying today, I'm going to give you money. So if I gave you cash, let's say the money is due today, and says, you know what, I'll pay you for your waiting till next week. I'll pay you $50 for it. So that's Ribis Deraisa. So if you do work and undercharge him or not charge him, that's also Ribis Deraisa.
How about if you're
Yeah, this is a old question. This is people. Not only that. Let me tell you better. People say, "I'm going to give you a loan, but don't give me back a check. I want cash." And better, I'm going to give you a loan. I'm not going to make it out to you. I'm going to make it to the yeshiva. You go. My neighborhood. That's what happens. So, a guy, if they would do it. Now the problem, they stopped doing it a long time ago. The school stopped doing it. But the truth is that we'll have to get to later to understand why it's okay. It's a little, in Ribis, we cannot jump. It's too complicated. We'll have to later, the Rabbi brings it down why, see why it's okay.
But with what Truly's asking, this is only when there's a loan involved. If it's just normal business, there's no problem.
What does normal business mean?
When he buys from a supplier, and the supplier gives terms of 2% if you pay early. When you take those terms.
Yeah, we'll later learn the halacha. That's a separate. The Rabbi happens to be machmer. We'll later learn in a minute.
But just to clarify, anytime you lend money without Ribis, and the loan is due, the guy can't pay, so there's no recourse for the Malva to do anything.
Nothing. Let me tell you what I did for the Babachick guy many years ago. Yeah, but let me tell you what a guy was desperate for a loan, and a lot of money.
He asked you for a loan?
No, he didn't. He asked me if he should do it.
Huh?
He asked me if he should do it, so I worked it out what he should do. Guy needed $250,000 loan, and he made it so he knew that this guy's in trouble, but he wanted to help him, but he knew that he might not get paid. So I told him, why don't you? He has a property, his house. I don't remember if it was his house or not, to someone else. He had a piece of property. So I said to him, give him the loan, $250,000, and you don't pay me in time. Ma'achshov, now your house becomes mine. And he even went to a lawyer, and the lawyer's here, because he didn't want to go through the court system, and you got to foreclose a piece of property. It's a guy explained to me in business, Yanesh verschleppte Krank. So there's a way there's a way to cut through the chase. I don't know how that works. Any lawyers here? No. There's a way to cut through the chase, and that's exactly what he did. So, and it came that he couldn't pay. He waited a few months, gave him, didn't. So what happens? He took away his house, the property.
The property was worth more than the loan.
And the property was worth more than the loan.
Doesn't matter because he bought
Right, the property was worth more, and he was only willing to do it because it wasn't so much, maybe $20,000-$30,000 more. But the point was, he was allowed to do it because if you don't pay me, when it comes out, we can make it tonight. See, I want to explain something in Ribis, which you have to get used to. Kol Tanai Shiba Mumen Kayin. You know what that means? Any condition you make in business is a condition. Doesn't make a difference how silly, how unfair. There's no such thing in the Torah. I had more than once people come to me, a guy invested money and the guy wanted 24% of the thing. I'm a silent investor, I want 24% of the profit. I was told illegally it goes to court, the judge would throw it out. It's unfair. In the Torah, there's no such a thing. The Torah, I could say, you want my money? 90% of the profit is mine. 10% is yours. Now, talking not Ribis. If this profit, it's mine. Doesn't make a difference. Kol Tanai Shebamum and Kain. Doesn't make a difference how unfair and how ridiculous it looks. Doesn't make a difference. So now, I could make a deal with him. I give you a loan, and with a condition. If you don't pay me, we make a kinyan at Tanai that it never was a loan. That I bought the house from you retroactively. I made a kinyan manachshav. So it's a Tanai. You know what a Tanai means? Tanai is a condition. If you didn't pay me by then, retroactively, from the time I gave you the money, you make a kinyan manachshav, you need a bezdin, 3 people, make a beloika smachta. So the house became his.
So why do it have risk if we can just do this?
But more people don't have houses to give away. You know.
And other property, like collateral.
Well, if you have, yes, most people need loans, don't have that. It's not a practical thing. Here, the guy was, was a practical businessman. He wanted to do a favor. He really did him a favor, but.
So the Tanai could be, even though the item that he's taking is much more valuable, and
because it turns out never was a loan.
Sale. So he sold his house for, let's say it was worth double. He sold his house for.
Yes. It's a Mishnah. I didn't think about it myself. It's a Mishnah. Oh, written. Oh, of course. You have to have written down clearly. He had it written down with the. He wrote it down with me, and then he took a lawyer to make sure it's legal. He made it so legal that he didn't want to go through the court system. Didn't want to have a schlep and foreclosure. That's when the first time I heard that a foreclosure could take months, and you got to hire a lawyer, go to court, and there's a way to get around it.
And just to clarify, according to Halacha, if someone does bankruptcy or something like that, does that officially wipe out his debts from a halachic standpoint?
No, an halachic standpoint is like this: if you filed papers for the LLC, you went to a guy and says you wrote papers, legal papers, you're lending the company, the corporation. Then he calls bankruptcy. Then he took it upon with the corporation. You go to your friend. You say, I need $20,000. I'm short of cash. And bankruptcy does not, unless he didn't make it legally with the corporation.
What if it's money that he owes to like a license?
He has to pay. There's nothing. People ask me all the time. He has to pay. He has to sell his shirt to pay for it.
So a customer that I give credit to.
I've been asked this from the Chabad community, not the first time. I don't know. It must be someone in Chabad says you don't have to.
So personal bankruptcy doesn't wipe out.
Doesn't wipe out any tuition. Let me tell you worse what happened to someone in the Chabad community a few years ago. He owed someone money. Someone was teufus a piece of property from him, and it was access of the money. And he didn't want to give it back to him because he owned the tuition for 5 schools here. Chabad, for the non-Chabad, whatever. So the guy came to me and he asked me, I don't want to give him back the money. I was told he hasn't paid tuition who knows long. So I says, you don't have to. So he said, do I have a right to give? He says, you have the money, you have a right to, really, if you don't go to Bezdin, somehow you have to go to Bezdin. If you don't go to Bezdin, you have a right to give it to the school. And nothing personal. He gave it to the non-Chabad school. He owed money there. So he gave a big chunk of that money that he was teufus, he gave to the school to pay. He hasn't paid the tuition. And he was furious because if I would have had to pay, I would have paid for the Chabad. He wasn't interested in paying. That happens to be that the Kaida. But I'm just saying, that's called the Shebida de Remnusen. You know what Shebida de Remnusen means? I owe you money. I owe this guy Riven money. And Riven owns the school money, owns the Chabad school, owns Bes Yankiv, owns other schools. I could go and say, I'll pay, I don't want to give it to you, I want to give it for your creditors. But like Tchila, Shiurim says you should divide it. But if he went and gave it to Bes Yankiv, it's given to Bes Yankiv, finish.
How can he do that? If he owes somebody money, should he have to pay the person and then,
Yeah, but no, that's called no, because Shebida de Rebusson says he could take me to Din Torah. Let's say I grabbed the money from him. This guy owed me, the story was, I don't remember how much. He owed him a lot of money. He went to court, and the court, I'll tell you the whole story. Let me tell you the whole story, otherwise it gets confusing. This guy took a loan of a heteriska from guy. And he put a lien on the property. It was a large sum of money. I forgot, over $100,000. I wasn't paying. So he went to Din Torah, and he didn't pay. So he went to court to foreclose the house. Now in court, the judge, any lawyers over here? The judge imposed sanctions. Also, he said, because he saw those guys of Schlepptekrang. I didn't know that the judge has the right to do that. First time I learned that. Besides sanctions, he made him pay Ribis, interest, from who knows back. Because...
Yes, that's
not only the amount that he borrowed, plus all the...
he started with $100,000. He had to pay him $230,000.
Okay.
It's not okay. I'm just saying that's what happened. So he took away the house. Now they took away the house. He came. I told him, you're not allowed to take any sanctions. You're not allowed to take. You could pay for the legal fees that you maybe you could take, and also not so simple. But some Hocharim hold you could grab that. But the other money was over who knows how much money. You're not allowed to take just because the judge have ordered you. That's Geneva. First he asked the local rabbi. Rabbi says, you're allowed to take whatever you want. Elchonon says, Mefurish not that way. I have to explain to the other rabbi, The Shiurim Chashmishpet says very clearly that the judge ordered, and he had a right to go to court, but he has no right to take, the court has no right, he has no right to take money, even though the court awarded him more money. Okay? This is a very important halacha which many Rabbanim don't know.
Why would you say it's any different than, same way a secular court can give you a parking ticket or any,
That's something else.
rules and
No, nothing.
they set up
No.
to keep
That's
people-
social rules. We spoke about it. That's social rules. We need to keep straight. We have a right to fine you.
Right.
That's something. Here, this was a loan, and they decided to give you a knas because you didn't pay back. They decided to retroactively make you pay ribis, and not only ribis, it was compounded. I don't know. It was. The judge threw the book at him. It's ribis compounded for each day. What you didn't. It turned out to be. Look, he owed him $100,000. He's got to pay back the $100,000.
Okay.
But whatever Hatariska was, I remember. So he said, "I'm not going to give it back to this guy. I don't trust him. He's going to pay his credit. I'm not the only one. He besides for other people, he owned 2 Chabad schools. I think the girls and boys, and the Bes Yaakov, one of the schools. So this guy decided, took a big chunk of the money and gave it to Bes Yaakov. And then Chabad came screaming, one of the schools that day. And I think he gave for the Chabad school the rest of the money. He didn't get it. So that's called Shbida de Rebnusim. You know what Shbida de Rebnusim means? That's it. This guy grabbed the money. So I have to give it back to him. Because I have no right. But you owe him, and him. So you could come to me straight demand the money. I should give it to you. Follow? That's called Shbida de Rebnusim. Yeah, let's say I'm the guy. I was not allowed to take the extra money. Yeah, he took it. He legally, the lawyer told him he has to take it, otherwise you're going to have problems. If you're going to just take the whole house, he did it for, it doesn't make a difference if he did it for practical or whatever. Because it's very hard if you can't take, I don't know these laws, but if you only part of the house, you have to sell it, and it's a whole story. He took the whole property. He was awarded a piece of property.
It's very common in court documents that there's a settlement. The settlement will say you have to pay this amount of money over, let's say it's $100,000, you pay $10,000 a month for 10 months. But if you miss the payment and it becomes due, or you have to start paying interest on it. It's very standard. I mean, that's the way the lawyers generally write this.
That's Ribis. That is Ribis. It's Ribis.
I mean, so from there's no way to do that.
And there's no way to do that.
Are you even allowed to have such a contract with the fellow?
You can make a risk on that. If the guy has a business. This guy went bust, he had no business. After he lost everything, you can make a risk, he has nothing. So you can't do that. And another thing we speak about this, when many Rabbanim don't know that when a lady goes to court and the court awards her money, whatever, it's not about the Torah says, she's not allowed to take the money.
What should she do if her lawyer tells her to take
It doesn't make a difference. She's a ganav.
Can
Couple gets divorced in the Torah if she didn't work. Let's just talk if she didn't work. She was a mother. There's no such a thing, half and half. How's it called? Community property. There's no such a thing. She takes half the money. She's a pusher to ganav.
Can you write a ksuba that would entitle her to community property?
You can write a ksuba.
Yeah, you could write a
The non-Orthodox do that, but most people don't do that. So,
Both of them sign the agreement.
if he agrees, then there's nothing to talk about.
Say if the court awarded it against
Yeah, but he has no choice. I've dealt with cases where she dragged him into court. He had no choice.
No, but if he agreed to go to court with her, that's part
Yeah, if he said, let's go to court, then he has no problem. That's true. But another case where a lady got a lot of money. She was a housewife and she got $4 million. So, and the reason was, he didn't want to go to the Torah. He knew a lot of dirt is going to come up. So, and then it charuta got. So I said, you agreed. You didn't want to go to the Torah because you didn't go to court. The lawyers finagled it. That's called, you're afraid to go. So you were willing to pay $4 million. Then you had charota, whatever. I don't know what happened. You have to make a kinyan. Yes, you have to make a new. You can't make the money. It's complicated, but you have to make a new kinyan. If you have such a thing,
any interest is actually paid, but it says as a penalty.
you should make a kinyan. You make a kinyan. If you have such a deal, you should, with a Yiddish person, just make a It's you service someone, you sold something to someone.
No, it's community property settlement. It basically says that you miss a payment, but it's gonna be interest. It comes due right away and it's interest.
So I mean, again, so someone owed you money, and
No, community property settlement.
oh,
So
so
it says if you miss a payment, then that's the way the lawyers always write it out.
It's called a liquidation clause.
Interest fee.
It's called a liquidation
It
clause.
hasn't happened, but it's a pretty standard, court that I didn't think about it at the time, and I think you're never gonna pay the interest, and that's it.
the Rav says later, it's Ribis deraisa. But my only question is, but both agree to the agreement.
Wait, yeah.
It wasn't a forced agreement,
No.
and there was a Kenyan, probably not.
Well, signing the document.
Signed document, though many poskim is a Kenyan, so then it's Ribis deraisa mamish. That was a agreement of Ribis deraisa. You have to
Right,
undo.
It's only Ribis if you collect on it, right?
No.
Initiating an agreement with Ribis.
I hope I didn't murky the word over here. I don't know what I did here.
According to secular law, if I start a business and I'm married, my wife owns 50% of that business up until the point we get divorced.
But the Torah doesn't say that.
But
Torah says he
it's
knows
not the
it.
same thing as saying I have to pay.
No, the Torah says she doesn't own it.
Torah says she doesn't own anything in her husband's business
Nothing,
unless she was an investor.
right? Or no. There's a big machlokes between the Mishnah Melech and the Mabit. That many women today earn a lot of money. And that lots of. I have daughters who, it's embarrassing to say how much they earn. I mean, I probably earn as much as one of their workers. You know what I mean? I'm saying, so there are women who earn an enormous amount of money. So do they have to say, in the beginning, when I'm earning money, this is all mine? Because a woman could say to her husband, the money's mine, don't support me. There are lots of women who are very much sliach in business. They don't need the husband to support them. You don't have to support me. I bring in a lot more money than my cost and everything. So if that's the case, then the machlokes in Mabit and the Mishnah Melech, I forgot who. One says it's obvious that it is that way. One said it's not. When it is negeya, this is negeya when you get divorced. I had a question. I had a shah like this. A lady tells me her best friend has a business, earns enormous. She doesn't tell her husband how much they have. She doesn't want him to feel so bad. But she sent her a ticket to come to her daughter's wedding. Her husband has no idea, and if he were here, he would just hit the roof. You know what I mean? But she, Baruch Hashem, makes more than him. But she's still nechna to him. There are plenty of women. I earn the money. Don't tell me what to do. I've had this with women. But so the question is, so she could say bedina woman is kimli like the poskim that the money is mine. Without saying. So she could say that. But if a woman doesn't earn that much money, which often women don't, the expensive is not, and she's a housewife, whatever, nothing belongs to her.
But if
Only the house, because he wrote it on her name willingly.
If the husband willingly puts her on the business.
If he puts on the business and he put it on, it's a Kenyan, then yeah, if he's willingly put it onto the business, yes.
But if it's a payroll, he's putting her on the payroll, she's the manager of the office, but she really doesn't work. Does she own a percentage? According to community property law, she owns 50%.
Yeah, you don't have to put the name. She owns 50%. I've heard this a lot from women. She Mama Shaganov. People don't know this. I once told the lady Ganov, she's hit the roof. I said, I'm not the boss of the Torah. What should I do? I'm don't scream at me. I mean.
You have the same problem with any will.
It depends how you make the will. You can make the will and it's not chal. It's not only. It's not even masna. It's not even chal. The will, according to most poskim, is not only chal because automatically the money goes to the children.
the sons, not the daughters.
Yeah. I'm saying if you don't write it with a regular, just wrote a will. I want my daughters to inherit a pitoida. You don't have to give the daughters a penny.
The sons can sue for the money.
Yes, a pitoida belongs to them. They don't have to sue. The Torah says.
I'm saying it didn't hurt. They can claim.
Yeah, in Muncie there was a frightening story. In Muncie there was a very wealthy person. There was a girl who became from, lived in Muncie. Her father was not religious and he was very successful. He died suddenly in a how do you call it, water skiing. Died in the water skiing, a boat hit him, and he didn't even write a will. So she inherited $40 million, nothing to sneeze. Her brother came to her and said, aren't you religious? Yes. Do you know in the Torah it says, you get nothing. What she do? So they bought Rosh Yeshivas from Eretz Yisrael, Lange was a bed, and tried to convince the Bezdin why to allow this. He didn't write a will. If there's a will, Moshe has a chiddush, but there was no will. You know, he was a young man.
Can you mention that Moshe was that it goes before the death?
Yeah, Moshe has a big chiddush, a huge chiddush. Not that most people don't agree to his psak. So the Butadina make him shorter. But here there was no will. He didn't write a will. It's interesting. But he was young. He was about 45 years old. She was also, she was 21 years old, his daughter. We got married in the Muncie. So there's nothing to do.
The RCC on the website has this document called Halacha Will. That's,
It's not theirs. It's not theirs. It's
if you sign that document, then your will, then you can write a will.
Yes, because it says that the document is made. One day I'll explain the document here. Documents. It's a Ramon Cheshemishbet. It's not theirs. They just put it on their website. It looks good. But it's not theirs. Yeah, right. I think the good also has it. Or someone told me.
Does there have to be kinyan by the children?
You have to make a kinyan. Yes, you do about. And
Wait, what happened at the end of that story?
Which one?
Money, the $40 million.
I don't know. I don't know what the end of she took. I think.
She wasn't so religious.
Rabbi, is there logic behind the women not inheriting? What's that?
Well, the logic behind it in good old days was, see, a woman could not take care of herself. There was not a business lady. Women took care of the children at home. So the men were the one who really were in charge of the money. Today it's a new world. Women don't have this curse. Women who earn a lot more than the husbands.
Because also she married somebody else, she's now part of a new family, so it's also
Right. Well, I'm just saying, it's whatever the reason is, doesn't make a difference. You can write the will, and you could write that the daughters will inherit. And there's a a guy once asked me, his father wrote in the will that he should give $250,000 to one of the meisters. That's it. Didn't make a kinyan, nothing. I'm asking you, and he inherited. I understood it was a lot of money he inherited. There wasn't so much. So he asked me how much of an obligation. I says in Shulchan says like a tchila you should do it. Rabbi, I'm not spending $250,000 for like a tchila. That's what he told me. It's only like a tchila, no.
But if the person wrote a will where he wrote this Meister gets $250,000, can I, as a son, say I don't want that to be enforced?
Yeah, it's only like a tchila you should do it. It's kibbutz abayim. I'm not so sure what the person can mean.
How do you do it, kinyan?
But in your case, you said he
The
asked
guy
his
may
son to do it. If he
yeah.
wrote $250,000 for this Meister, $250,000 for this Meister.
For sure he doesn't. And he asked the son to dispense the money this way. The Shulchan has the longer, but what did you just say?
How do you do the kinyan?
Yeah, you make someone else makes the kinyan.
You have to have
Yeah, it says in the shtar. Made a kinyan. That it says in the shtar.
In New York, two large voices were killing each other for 10 years over a will. As long as this was the issue. New Jersey. The Menashe client came in and said, finish no one.
Fetish the what?
A woman left a huge will to the large yeshiva in New York. There was a deal made, he was shot in the leather that half the money go to the Rebbe. After Gimel Thomas, Yeshiva part came and said, we're not giving you any more. It was 10 years they were in court, Torah everywhere. And Menashe Klein said, Yeshiva should not give a dime to Americans, not the Muslim. Because it's not, it'll never kill you.
It's not a kinyan.
Well, who gave you right to give away the money?
Yeah. A moisid is not allowed to give away money. It's a separate issue.
100%.
Okay. Where are we up to? In Maloive Bar Malucha. Maloive Bar, we said this. Maloive Bar Malucha, we're up to Tesvov, no?
Yes.
No. Geen oesel lechol udam lahagdim schar hamalucha leimen Shiasli Bizol. Now, your guy, it's called prepayment. I'll prepay you, and you're going to give it cheaper for me to work. So it means that, let's say the work would cost $10,000. You tell the guy, you know what? I'm going to pay you ahead of time. I give you $9,000. So he says, I'm giving you a loan today to make it cheaper for me because it's not due the money yet. I'm giving you now the money. So I'm asking payment, do the work for cheaper, he says.
All the schools do it.
It's a standard thing now. It's not just
tuition all the time.
business.
It will soon see why tuition is mitzvah.
Tuition is different?
No, it's soon not tuition. No. They'll soon see when it's mitzvah. In a minute, you see. Well, let's be patient. So, why is the halacha that way? Kivin she'imen yuchalach zeboy min adin. You know, there's halacha in Choshe Mishpat. Avudayhem, avudah means there's no such a thing you can make a person work. There's the Shach argues on this in the Ritva, but generally speaking, that means you can't make a person work. Even though he said, I'll do it for you, he started paying for him. The Torah says, if a person's obligated to work for you, that means he became your slave. There's no such a thing. You know, we talked about a loan. Torah says, in Ksubis Daf Samach, Torah says, you cannot force a guy to go to work to pay a loan. You can take everything away from him. The only place where it says you could force is by wife's mezainis. Person doesn't want to give mezainis. It says when eflach ba'oiki yisichi. If you know what it says in the ksubah, what you wrote for your wife, it says I'll work. I mean I'll work. I don't have to work. I owe you money. I don't have to go to work. That's the only place where we paskin that the bezin could hit him to go to work to pay his mezainis for his wife, not the children, his wife. But you can't make a person go to work to pay a loan, because then he becomes, Tosha says, he becomes like a slave. So, you know, since a person could quit, so if the money, you can't tell me that it's chal, the money was a loan then, he says. Doesn't make it a difference. A kabel, kabel means he does the job, doesn't make a difference. Ben shi schiriyoim, it's a day laborer. Magdim lo yischar t'neyom shoyse. Now let me explain what the next Rav is saying. This is saying that he's going to do in the future. Let's say, it just says in tuition, you say if you pay me the beginning of the year, if you pay me the beginning of the school year right away, then the school is up. If I'm starting to work right now to work, so it's, are you prepaying me? But there's no loan. Since I'm working for you, I'm charging the work cheaper, and you paid me ahead of time right now. Instead of paying me at the end, you paid me right now. The price, you just said schal limit, right? That's how it works, schal limit?
Yeah, they asked for the money in March, now they're getting the school year. They asked for it 6 months early.
They're already preparing for the next school year.
No, that's a problem.
No, they prepare. Not only does the administration work to get the tuition, which is work for the next year, but the teachers also are learning at that moment.
In March?
They asked 6 months early for the if the prepaid, you get a
The
discount.
prepayment
you pay
discount
6 months
is
early.
for paying before the school year starts, that's for sure.
Yeah, but the fact that the administration is
I don't know, that's okay.
working with them.
I'm not sure that's okay.
What's their Ribis there?
We just learned.
You just learned that
You get a cheaper price.
I have an IT
How about
guy.
the fault? You're buying a
Quick guy.
service.
You're not buying the consumable.
It's working for you. I mean, the shivas
You're
are.
buying the teacher.
Doesn't
You're
make a
buying the
difference.
increase, right?
So-
The teacher gets paid.
So the shiva saying you have a business.
Right.
So who cares? Yeah, let's say you have a business, a babysitter's business. Okay, you don't have a yeshiva. Let's make it sound like a secular thing. You have a babysitting service, and you say if you pay me in the beginning of the year, right now the first day it's okay. But if you tell me you pay me 3 months ahead before the school starts, I'm vacationing in who knows where. You pay me ahead of time. I'll give it to you cheaper. That means it's a loan because right now there's no work being done.
Why is it a loan?
In March, there's no work yet. If he's paying for next year tuition, in March, there's no work yet, right? The school year ends, when does it end? In June.
He's not taking Ribis. He's giving the school a loan at a cheaper price.
No, it's giving the school a loan, and for that reason, they're going to give a normal tuition is $12,000 a child, so they're going to say for you it's $10,000 a child, since he gave us the ahead of time, the whole cash.
Also, banquet fee and this fee and all these fees, it's like 10 years before I didn't have them.
The banquet fee, that's a separate issue. Let's just talk about this.
The truth is, they need that money early. It helps.
I
them
don't
get
care.
organized.
That doesn't make a difference. That doesn't make a difference. Yes. Listen. Listen. If I gave you a loan, and I come to you, you're a lawyer, and I say to you, I gave you a loan. Can you do me a favor? I can't ask you for favors, right? So paying tuition in March was a loan. There's no work being done for next year. No work. So that means you gave the school a loan. For that reason, we'll be very nice. Normally you charge $12,000. I'm going to charge you $10,000. That's Ribis. No. Again.
He's saying, where's the loan?
Listen carefully. No, it's not. Listen carefully. March, you gave them $10,000. So they saying it's a discount. You, and everyone knows in March it's not a discount. They desperately need money. Let's face it. Why did they want March? They have to close the gap at the end of the year. So they say to you, give us $10,000 ahead of time for a loan, which is really a loan, even though they don't word it that way. It's really a loan, and the payment of the loan is, we'll give you our services, which is normally $12,000 for $10,000.
In September, not in March.
Which is Ribis.
When you buy an apple, when you buy something now, you're taking it out.
All the schools do this.
Not all the schools do it. I don't think Srs10 does it. I don't think so. What? Srs10 does it? No.
Almost any school, if you pay them the whole thing in one shot.
Beginning of the school year, I was told, not in March.
No, in March, they'll give you a discount.
Which school do you send your children?
I'm telling you, I have schools where they said, if you pay me in March, the full thing, we'll give you 5% off, we'll give you 10% off. Just pay us in full.
Make a head of discount.
It's also to reserve the place for your kid, and they know they'll have your tuition all at once. They don't have to bother you for it throughout the year. Benefits both parties.
Can you make a
In other words, maybe
Can you do
the
that?
shot is you're paying less because your school has to work less. Because your child is costing the school less because they don't have to run after you for the money. So you're not doing the service for cheap. You're giving them less headache. You're giving them less work. So
That's Ribis.
See, I don't understand.
Is there any way around? Is there any way that I can get the discount and
According to this, anytime you prepay for something and get a better price for it, it would be the same price.
Unless the Mechaber says, the Rav says, it's a Gemara, the work starts right now. If the work starts right now, the first day of school year, and we say, you give us $12,000 ahead of time, you give it $10,000, and instead of 12, we'll take it, then it's okay, because right now, there's no loan. I'm paying right now for the work that's beginning today. But because the work starts right now, so the work starts now, I'm paying. But if you're doing per March, there's no work. I was in a din Torah between the Chabad and Anhola where they paid prepaid. This guy had wealth, and he decided not to send the child. They didn't want to give back the money. I said, there's no such a thing. You have to give back the money. They, I don't know what they thought.
Right. So I have a firm IT guy, the internet guy, for the computer, and he does, you prepay 10 hours at a time, and the assumption is obviously getting a discounted price for it. It's going to be $100 an hour instead of $120, $130. And you prepay for 10 hours, and then when you need to work, he comes and does the work. So according to this,
It's not good. I mean, he doesn't do the work right now. It's whenever you need work, he comes to do it. One second. What's his name? So what is the agreement? I pay him now, and when I need you, you're coming?
Yeah.
That's a problem.
And lawyers do retainers all the time.
This is called retainer.
But you start right now to work.
No, you pay me up front, and I'm available whenever you need me. In case you need it, I'm retained.
Yeah, no, but the work. One second.
but then you're not getting a discount.
No. A retainer is not a discount. But a retainer.
I'm saying a lawyer retainer is not a discount.
No, it's not a discount.
This guy's giving you a discount.
Again, if you give a guy money, and if you right now, I really don't need him. You don't need him, but you tell him at the beginning of the month you gave him, you prepay him, and when I'll need you, I'll call you.
Well, let me take a step back. Usually he starts like you call him up, I need you, right? He comes down, he says, listen, this is how I do it. You pay 10 hours in advance, and every time I use up 10 hours, I'm going to bill you for another 10 hours. So when
That could be his mitzvah. That could be his mitzvah, because he's starting the work right then, and you do know you're going to need the work. One second. Let me answer his. The way he's saying it, the way he's done. So the guy's coming down, and he says, I'm going to start working for you, but if you prepay me for 10 hours, $100, whatever, I charge it. But he's starting to work right now.
Yeah, but now when he finishes 10 hours, he sent me an invoice for the next 10 hours. I
Right.
paid that, and I don't know when I'm going to need it. You know?
I have to look that. It's a problem. I have to look that up.
It's an ongoing, every 10 hours, it keeps us a new invoice every time.
If you make it, you need it right now. Computer can crash.
Crashes end of the time. Your computer crashes all the time.
No, it's for the server, you know, like they come and do, you know, whatever stuff. No, honestly, he hasn't been to my office in many months. I didn't need it. And then suddenly I got new computers, I needed to reset it up, so he comes in again. It's only, you know, and he's giving a discount because he gets to sit on the money for as long as he, you know.
I have to look that up.
We have the same guy. Usually what happens is he finishes his hours, and then he'll tell you, now I'll take another 10 hours.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Rabbi, if you
I have
send that, as long as a piece of the work is started now, it's okay.
It's okay.
Schools can rely on that because schools are always doing work for next year. They're hiring teachers.
In March,
But if you listen, I promise I give them money. They wrote my name. They wrote my daughter's name on the class list for next year.
March.
They started as soon as I'm getting the money. They're gonna start making notes for next year. No?
it's very hard to me. And who runs the school over here? Who works in the school?
Schools start preparing March.
In March.
I thought it's over 3 years.
You're right. But he's not working for you. One second. I just want to say something. I just want. I don't. Even though the school starts working, he's not working for you. They start the curriculum. They start to clean the building. I have to look this up. I have to think this through. Anyways, I hope all of you have exceeded. You want to say something? No, it doesn't work that way because we're going to learn later. There's a whole thing because we paskin Srs10 einim shtalem b'sov. Means you have no right to collect money for work only at the end. So we give ahead of time. So anyways, all of you have a ksiduch simitoy. I want to say I'm not going to be back. Because I'm not going to be next week, and I hope you get an invitation. My wife got the list, but I'm marrying off a daughter right after Sukkot, so I'm not going to be. The wedding is in Lakewood, so over here I need a truckload of money to do it here. Lakewood is a fifth the price. You have to be so yeah. So I have a ksiduch simitoy.